Previously.
So, you're the big Jedi that everyone's been talking about. You don't look so tough to me. I'm Meetra. I'm the best bounty hunter in this system, and that's not me bragging, that's fact. I know that squid-head Visquis sent you a message to meet him in the Jek-Jek-Tar. He works for Goto, and it's a trap.
While the Jedi remains on Nar Shaddaa, my eyes shall watch her.
Goto, I was only trying to bring the Jedi to you. Please, take her. I offer the human as a gift, freely, as I would my...
Enough. What an amusing Jedi specimen you are. In one standard month, the Republic will collapse. Not due to war or secession, but because it lacks the infrastructure to support itself.
I can't believe we just blew up Goto's yacht. That's going to destabilize crime throughout this whole sector.
Yeah, well, you'll understand if I hold back the tears.
What do you want now?
If you thought to escape my notice so easily, you would be wrong. As a token of my goodwill, I present to you a gift. This droid. It will serve you well on your journey.
I shall go to Dxun, to the ruins of the Enclave. If you gather the others, I will meet you there. And thank you, Exile. You're returning. It is good that you are back among us.
Something wrong?
Not as of yet.
Even though Surik suspects this might not be the last time she sets foot on the smuggler's moon, her work on Nar Shaddaa is done, and the Ebon Hawk is ready to depart to its next destination. The next destination in line is Onderon, where Master Kavar sought refuge. A specific plan of action will be laid out once they reach the planet. Meetra has certainly proven herself to be trustworthy after providing aid on Nar Shaddaa, and Master Zez-Kyle having vouched for her. She quickly settles in amongst the crew, for she has proven she can be trusted. Goto's droid is also here. Much was achieved on Nar Shaddaa. The Hawk's ID signature has been changed, and supplies have been restocked. Surik found the remaining components for the HK droid, and now it's only a matter of finding the adequate time to install them. Before that, however, she goes over the lightsaber components. All components are here, apart from the crystal. Even though the lightsaber will not be functional yet, she wishes to examine and double-check each of the components with Bao-Dur. This also provides her with an opportunity to learn what he was doing since the war's end.
I moved around for a couple years. Working as a starship mechanic got me from place to place. I wasn't ready to settle down after the war. Though the war had ended, I couldn't find peace in anything. As long as I kept moving, I didn't have to think about what happened. Know what I mean?
It sounds like he was trying to run away.
I was, no doubt. It's hard to face up to yourself sometimes, and for a few years I couldn't. Mostly, I was angry. Angry about what I had done, about why I had done it. Maybe if I had the Force to lean on, I could have worked it out. But then the Force didn't seem to be of much help to others. I decided I'd do something constructive. I wanted to make up for the things I'd done in the war. I wanted to design planetary shields, but there weren't many systems with the credits to spare. There was more that needed to be rebuilt than protected. I found out that Telos was going to be the flagship project for the Republic, and it sounded like something good. But Czerka ruined everything. I thought I could force Czerka out on my own, but I guess I can't fix everything myself. All I wanted to do was send a message, but I couldn't even do that right. That's the past, though. It's good to be working with you again, General.
And it's good to have him on board. Hopefully being here gives him some stability. He is welcome to stay for as long as he chooses, of course.
As long as you don't mind having me around, it's a nice change from drifting.
During all that time, it seems he was at least not alone.
That old thing? I built him when I was a kid. Been following me around for years now, despite what I've done to try and chase him off. Hey, just kidding. I'm happy to have you around. He helps me out with repairs. I outfitted him with a cutting laser and some other tools for delicate modifications. He's also good for singeing the pants of annoying techs.
The small remote does provide a useful presence. Surik wonders if he'd be able to construct one for her.
I would, but then I wouldn't be the only one with a floating sphere following him around, and I kind of like that.
Understandable. Besides, she is already involved.
Iridonian, if I might have a moment.
What is it, Goto?
I have spent some time in the presence of your remote, and the upgrades you have performed on him are quite adequate. I am impressed with your work, though less so with your remote itself.
What's wrong with my remote?
I find his use of resources, energy spent on frivolous things, to be an unsightly waste. But it is obvious you have some skill, however slight, in the upgrading of machines. I want you to provide me with similar upgrades.
I should be able to do something. I will see what I can do next time I have a free moment.
Speaking of stability, perhaps the Republic will see a bit of it now that it has access to Voga's fuel.
Oh, that pile of incompetence. What a poor challenge he turned out to be. However, though I am loath to admit it, Voga is still very much a threat. As short as his arms are, his actual influential reach is much greater. I imagine that now he is free of me for a time, he will resume shipping operations throughout the galaxy.
But won't that help the Republic? Goto wants to stabilize it, so why was he trying to stop Voga from selling fuel?
Because I wanted to force the Republic to turn to other resources to bolster their infrastructure. Dealing with the Hutts for any resources whatsoever will only bleed the Republic dry. The Hutts serve only the Hutts, and their trading practices only serve to undermine an already weak Republic.
Voga's aid should then be used as a short-term solution to keep Citadel Station in orbit, until something better is found. But for how long? She cannot help but think of Kreia's lesson on charity. In this instance, the Republic is growing dependent on inadequate solutions for survival, much like it had become so dependent on the Jedi solving its problems. Relying on these sorts of solutions, including Voga's fuel, may do more damage in the long run.
Doing so would bankrupt the Republic. In the long run, it will do more damage than the failure of Citadel Station.
It is acceptable in the short term, however, until they find something better.
Your hypothesis may be correct. A momentary fluctuation for a greater goal is acceptable. I attempted to force the Republic to turn to shipping fuel from Paragus rather than buying it from the Hutts. Before you blew up the planet, of course.
The Sith blew it up. She is getting rather tired of taking the blame for it.
Then stop causing events of planetary destruction. You are a walking catastrophe, and you are not making saving the Republic any easier.
The next destination is Onderon, an unstable world. From what she heard, the planet is in the midst of a political conflict, putting all other plans on hold. Its wildlife is part of the Telos restoration effort. There's no doubt the effort will benefit from Onderon's stabilization.
Onderon is an outer rim world, rich in ecological resources. Its aggressive ecology is capable of bringing devastated worlds back to life. It is currently experiencing a political schism split between two forces. One must triumph for the planet to be stabilized.
She shall have to assess which side to aid once they reach the planet, and once one side triumphs, Onderon will be able to contribute to the stabilization of the Republic. Master Kavar has undoubtedly involved himself in it, unless he too, like Master Zez-Kyle, simply wished to hide. For the remainder of the trip, Surik had planned to talk to Kreia for some guidance, but there is a matter that has been weighing on her mind since their arrival to Nar Shaddaa. In the days spent on the smuggler's moon, she was approached by someone in the refugee quadrant who claimed to know Atton.
Yeah, that's a surprise. Did he say I owed him credits too?
The stranger didn't mention credits, but he did say that Atton spent some time on Nar Shaddaa during the Jedi Civil War, and that Atton is not Atton at all.
I'm as Atton will ever be. And whoever your trusted informant is, he's right. I did show up on Nar Shaddaa during the Jedi Civil War, along with a lot of other refugees.
Interesting that he never mentioned that before, as they reached the moon. Speaking of mysteries, there's also the matter of Atris's handmaidens noticing his Achani combat stance.
Oh, that. Don't tell anyone, but you wouldn't believe how many fights you can prevent by just pretending to know that stuff.
The handmaidens of Atris appeared capable. It is unlikely they could be fooled so easily in the art that is essentially their life.
Is this an interrogation? If so, you're terrible at it, especially for an ex-Jedi, or whatever you are. Why don't you just crawl in my head and try to dig out whatever you're looking for rather than asking about it?
She was not even considering that as an option. She merely wishes to know more about him, and why he decided to stay.
You know what? I helped you get off Paragus. If I hadn't been there, you wouldn't have even gotten off the administration level. I'm trying to help you. I don't know why I'm bothering.
Actually, the Sith would have arrived through the airlock on the administration level anyway and provided an escape route.
Yeah, well, I still helped you. Sort of. Maybe you shouldn't look a free Ronto in the mouth before you buy it.
Atton's help is appreciated, but she should know more about his past. Before his arrival to Nar Shaddaa, it would be good to know more about those she travels with.
You know what? Not once have I asked you about the Mandalorian Wars. Not once.
I heard about Seriko, and I sure as hell know about Malachor 5.
What makes you think you've got the right to interrogate me on anything? You've got plenty of lives to answer for. All you Jedi do.
All she has done was to stop the enemy and save countless innocent lives.
How did you even live with yourself after Malachor? Is that why you went back to the Jedi Council? Hoping they'd kill you? But Jedi don't kill, do they? At least not their prisoners. Maybe you were counting on it when you went back in chains. So you got off easy. You were exiled, brushed under the cargo ramp, another dirty little Jedi secret. I'll tell you, all those Jedi at Malachor, they deserved it. Every last one of them.
No one deserved what happened at Malachor. Certainly not the Jedi who stood up against the Mandalorian threat, sacrificing themselves. Why would he even believe that?
Because Jedi lie, and they manipulate, and every act of charity or kindness they do, you can drag it out squirming into the light and see it for what it is. The galaxy doesn't need Jedi arrogance or Jedi hypocrisy anymore.
And the Sith are better.
The Jedi, the Sith, you don't get it, do you? To the galaxy, they're the same thing. Just men and women with too much power, squabbling over religion while the rest of us burn. At least the Sith are honest about what they're killing for. The Jedi are pacifists, except in times of war. They're teachers, except when it comes to telling their students the truth. And when they save you, it's only so you can suffer more.
The Jedi have their flaws, but there's more to their path than what he believes.
Whatever, just leave me alone. I don't know why I'm wasting my time with you anyway.
There's not much point in a discussion at the present moment. Hopefully time will allow for Atton's emotions to settle down. She was planning on talking to Kreia, but Surik instead decides to get some rest. This conversation has certainly unsettled her own emotions too. Atton has been a helpful ally thus far, and it would be unreasonable to disregard his contribution. At the present moment, despite his newfound distaste for Jedi, there's no reason to consider him a threat.
My lightsaber. You've destroyed it. I yield, Master. It is as I heard through the Force.
This assassin is different from the others. Not only in skill, but the Force.
Kill me. I beg you. It was not my wish to challenge you. And I must pay the price.
The assassin will live long enough to provide some answers.
I have nothing to offer you. It is as I felt.
Now I've seen everything. This woman, she's a Miraluka. I didn't think any were left in this part of the galaxy. They're a pretty secretive race. I heard that some of their kind become Jedi, but a Sith? That's a new one. I'm not sure how you'd go about killing one. It'd be tricky.
Killing?
Just mentioning it, she looks like she's suffered enough wounds already, even after the beating you gave her. I heard they had a colony on the Mid-Rim, almost halfway between Onderon and Dantooine. Then, it wasn't there anymore. The whole planet was wiped out. Nothing left alive. No one knows why.
Perhaps she knows.
Well, it was a planet of her people. If they see through the Force, who knows? Maybe they all saw something through the Force that we can't see. They claim to see on a higher plane than we do. You know, the whole Force thing makes me nervous.
Hopefully she will be able to recover enough to provide answers. Strange. Surik did land a few blows, but nothing even close to fatal. This assassin is very different from the others. It is as if she is recovering from more than a physical wound. It is clear she will not awaken anytime soon.
Well, some of her wounds are pretty bad. Looks like she was already carrying her share of scars, though. I think she'll recover, yeah.
She is a threat to us.
So that's 2 votes for killing.
I am not asking that she be harmed or interrogated, but she is of the Sith, and she has attacked us once. She should not be allowed to walk freely on the ship.
In that case, the Handmaiden should take up the responsibility of guarding the Sith assassin until she recovers from the medbay. She should remain on the ship while they explore Onderon, and until they decide what to do with this assassin. After all, Atris has trained her handmaidens to deal with Force sensitives. No other crew member is more qualified for the task, even though the assassin did manage to board the vessel undetected. In the meantime, Surik will take advantage of the few remaining hours to rest and prepare for Onderon. Once they reach the planet, they may plan out their next move.
Well, this is Onderon. Looks like there's a long line to get into the Isis starport.
Something feels wrong here. A great disturbance here in orbit, and again on the planet below.
I guess this blockade is a symptom of larger problems on Onderon.
If they decide to do a cargo search, we're gonna be in trouble.
Looks like we're about to find out. I'm receiving a message from some Colonel Tobin. Patching it through.
The Ebon Hawk. I was told to expect your arrival. I don't know your business on Onderon, but it ends here.
We've taken some hits. I'm gonna put us down on that jungle moon.
You know, just once I wish someone was glad to see us. But no, if it isn't weapons pointed at our heads, it's someone trying to blast us out of the sky.
Well, the space battle's still going on overhead. Since they were so eager to use our hull for target practice, I doubt they're just gonna forget us.
We're lucky I was able to find this place to land. Looks like something has cleared away the jungle in a few spots around here.
Buried memories resurface, and a sense of unease rises.
I did pick up the remains of an old outpost near here. Maybe that's why there's all these clearings around. Maybe they were once settlements.
There were no settlements here. Those clearings were most likely once craters or crash sites.
Crash sites?
This is Dxun, where the Mandalorians began their crusade against the Republic.
The remains of whatever outposts you detected here are military ones. We should be careful.
This is where the Mandalorian Wars started? This doesn't look like much of a battlefield.
Much is buried here, and there is much that should remain buried.
They should depart as soon as they can, once the ship's state permits it.
It's taken a little damage, nothing too serious. I'm shutting down all unnecessary systems until we make repairs. It'll keep us from being a target. Until the ship is repaired, we're not going anywhere. Unless you can find another route to Onderon, we should sit tight.
There may be a means to get to Onderon by another route.
The Force has guided us here for a reason. We should explore our surroundings. There is something here.
Something? Oh, there's something here, all right. Predators. Not small flit darters, but big, mean, nasty predators.
Nevertheless, we should explore our surroundings. And that nearby outpost would be as good a place as any to begin.
Atton should remain on the ship and handle repairs while they explore the jungle. She would do well to gear up.
Well, if you go, be careful. No telling what other ships were forced down in the battle.
I have a feeling the ship will not be repaired until our business here is concluded. Do I make myself clear?
Yeah, I understand. What's so important about this place?
This is where the Mandalorian Wars began. She fought here once, and there are things here she must see.
She fought here? Why didn't she say anything?
Do you speak of all your battles? Or are there some you wish to forget?
In this unpredictable environment, the senses of a bounty hunter and a Force sensitive will be most useful. Kreia and Meetra will accompany Surik on the moon's surface. Bao-Dur, Atton, and T3 will remain on board and repair the Hawk as quickly as possible. The handmaid innovatress has already received her assignment. Goto's droid will also stay on the ship. Perhaps he could use some of his accessories to accelerate repairs.
If that means you will always pick me last for any missions, then I will accept your judgment and instead remain safely on the ship, where I will have access to all your computer systems.
Goto's droid will accompany them in reconnaissance mode. The jungle is the same, no matter the years. It does not take long for Dxun's beasts to take notice of new arrivals and make themselves known. They were a significant threat during her last visit to this moon, as they are now. Many memories are buried here. To the common eye, it is just another jungle, filled with narrow pathways. But to hers, each of them represents a threat.
You heard the general. Charge! Charge! Humans!
For Mandalore!
You thinking what I'm thinking? These jungles are filled with long, narrow paths, dumb beasts that just keep charging at you. This place is perfect for mines. If the carcasses were worth anything, you could make a fortune.
Just another jungle.
I've got some news. The space battle is still going on. The Hawk's sensors just picked up a contact heading to the moon. Most of the ship's systems are powered down, so it's about all I got. That ship may have landed nearby, though. Or it may be on the other side of the moon. So you might want to prepare for another friendly Onderon welcome.
She should be able to handle any trouble that comes their way. After the complexity and the chaotic nature of Nar Shaddaa, perceiving her surroundings here feels easier.
Well, Nar Shaddaa may be one of the biggest cesspits in the galaxy, but it's got a life to it. Activity. Aliens, people, refugees. It's like noise, but relaxing. Like the hum of a hyperdrive.
It is easy for Meetra to say. She was raised there and got used to that relaxing noise.
Yeah, more or less. I wasn't born there. I just ended up there. Well, the war happened. The first one, against the Mandalorians. I had family right up until the end. It's not really a new story. You hear it all over the galaxy. It's what happens after the wars are over that you don't hear much about. After Revan crushed the Mandalorians, planets throughout the Republic were flooded with refugees. I was just one of the others. Me? I got passage to Nar Shaddaa. From there, not much you can do, so I became a bounty hunter. I'm good at finding people, so I used it to make credits.
Malachor had no colonies. How could she have lost family there?
Take a guess, Jedi. Only 2 groups of people would have lost family at Malachor. And Jedi don't have families.
So Meetra is Mandalorian.
As much as any slave becomes a Mandalorian. They took prisoners on every world they conquered to bolster their ranks. And they took a lot of worlds.
What was her homeworld, Surik wonders?
I don't know, it didn't matter. I was too young to remember, really. Besides, Nar Shaddaa's kind of grown on me. It's as much my home as any place else.
So Meetra spent her childhood as a slave to the Mandalorians?
When I was young, yeah. They mostly used me to carry ammo packs and munitions. Toward the end of the war, they needed everyone they could get. They taught me to fight, to hunt, to survive. I was part of their squad, even when I was young. Everyone served as part of the unit, and I felt like I had a place there. After Malachor, it really didn't matter anymore. Mandalorians lost. Bad. But you know that.
It sounds like the Mandalorians were the only family she knew. It pains Surik to say, but what she did had to be done. The Mandalorians were a threat.
Yeah, I know. I saw the worlds they left behind them during the war. That kind of stays with you. I haven't forgotten it. What happened at Malachor, they probably deserved it.
Malachor is a heavy subject. Moving past it, it seems Meetra found herself on Nar Shaddaa, with the way she speaks of the world. It is impressive that she's so successful at finding people there, given their density on the moon.
Not if you know your target. Usually you get a hollow or rough description, and then you just sort of listen to it, get a feel for him or her, then start walking.
Walking?
And this is a little hard to explain, but Nar Shaddaa's got a flow, a life to it. You see all kinds of aliens and life there, and it's got currents. You know your target, you can feel them. You know where they're going to go. And sometimes you know where they're going to be before they do. I'm good at finding people. Because when they're lost or out of place, it's like something's wrong inside them. And that's why I hunt.
Most interesting that Meetra perceives the currents of Nar Shaddaa. Surik cannot help but wonder about Meera's potential.
You have led us on a very fine chase, human. But we have finally found you.
Well, if it isn't the Zug brothers. Sorry, but this one's my bounty, so keep those weapon barrels pointed down.
Our quarrel is not with you, red-maned small female. We are far from Nar Shaddaa, and so are you. You have heard of the Sruk family, yes? We are bounty hunters. Very effective, very famous.
And very dead if you keep pointing those guns at us.
Just when she thought she was free of Nar Shaddaa filth.
Watch it, Cargo. Otherwise I might decide to split the bounty with the Zugs.
I know, you're crushed.
This grievous loss aside, they must proceed in the direction of the outpost. Hopefully it will provide some answers. But before the outpost, they run across a different structure.
Watch it, Jedi. There's a body over there.
That is not the skeletal remnant of a war long past. That is a recent kill. It appears that Dxun isn't as abandoned as we would be led to believe.
A lone Mandalorian. Fresh kill, too. Less than a standard week. I can't figure the percentage in them still being on this rock.
The past has a curious attraction to us all. Perhaps he came in a small shuttle to revisit old battlegrounds. Perhaps not.
Whoever hired him had a good reason to send him to this jungle. There may be more of them around.
The structure door appears to be impenetrable to anything short of high-grade explosives. It must be some sort of cache. There is nothing for them here, so they proceed towards the outpost.
Hold it right there. We've got you surrounded.
Great, just what we needed. Mandalorians.
We claimed this moon decades ago, when we reforged ourselves after Exar Kun's defeat. Some of us call it home. Why are you trespassing here?
Surik explains that they crash-landed on the moon, and are looking for a means of reaching Onderon. This should not give the Mandalorians sufficient reason to attack, though given her role in the Mandalorian Wars, they almost certainly know who she is, and that she is a Jedi. Perhaps they may wish to take this opportunity for revenge.
Why does everyone except Mandalorians hold grudges after battle? We were both tested, and your side proved more formidable. We honor you for it. If we were planning to attack you, then we would have opened fire as soon as you entered the clearing. You left yourself exposed on both sides, and you would have been little more than target practice for us. We have orders to escort you to our camp. Our leader wants to speak to you. So your choice is, follow us as our guest, or see how Mandalorians have earned their reputation.
This may prove of use to us. Let us hear his words and see if they hold any value.
So you're the intruder. Our sensors picked up your handiwork in space. I am Mandalore, leader of the Mandalorians.
So this is the successor of Mandalore the Ultimate. Surik was under the impression that the Mandalorians disbanded after his fall.
Scattered perhaps, but we're still alive. Alive and rebuilding. Many Mandalorians have fallen from the path of honor, and are now no more than common mercenaries. But that is changing. This used to be the heart of the Mandalorian war effort. From this complex we commanded an armada that had the Republic on the run.
All those years ago, she would not have believed she would be engaged in a dialogue with her now former enemy. She had always wondered what it was that made them choose Dxun as their base.
Mandalorians have a rapport with this jungle. Every moment here is a struggle. All creatures gripped in a constant war for survival. The sole purpose of the weak is to feed the strong. We train here and learn the lessons of the jungle. The beasts also help us keep our edge.
Their camp looks like it's seen better days.
Covert camps are not meant to attract attention. Because we conquered them, the people of Onderon still hold a grudge against the Mandalorians. So we keep our presence here a secret.
Speaking of Onderon, she tells Mandalore that she is looking for a way to reach the planet. It would be safe to presume that Mandalorians have the necessary means for it.
So it's transportation you want? It so happens I have a small shuttle that's more than capable of running the Onderon military blockade. I make occasional trips to Isis for information and supplies. I don't travel with anyone I'm not sure of. You look capable, but Isis can be a dangerous place. If you want to travel on my shuttle, I want to make sure you aren't going to be a liability. If you want to go with me, you're going to have to prove your worth. Ask around. See if you can make yourself useful, or something that'll show what you're made of.
In the days that follow, Surik dedicates herself to the task of being useful. With her allies, she heads into the jungle to aid the Mandalorians, from searching for mechanical parts in slain Kanaks to dispatching covert military scouts. She does much to prove herself, even encountering aggressive beasts that would take more than a few Mandalorians to kill. She has also proven herself in the battle circle, defeating many Mandalorians in hand-to-hand combat, without relying on the Force or weapons. Her regular training with the Handmaiden has truly proven useful.
You there, I am in need of your assistance. I'm Kumas, a Mandalorian warrior. My brothers believe me dead. Without aid, they shall soon be right.
That's the first time she ever heard a Mandalorian asking for help.
Do you expect me to beg? I am not going to barter for my life. I only ask what any warrior deserves, a chance to die for a cause, not starving and weaponless at the mercy of beasts. A patrol was sent to look for weapon caches in this region. They found 3 sites that looked promising. Zarga, my commander, told me to prove myself by taking explosives to those sites and uncovering the caches, if they exist. This was the first site. After easily dispatching some Maras, I removed my pack and began to plant my charges along this ridge. When I finished setting the charges, I looked down to see Kanaks swarming all over my pack. The pests were eating everything. I killed the Kanaks, but then a herd of Bomas arrived. I had no more ammo. The extra energy cells I had brought had been in my pack, so I've been up here, weaponless for 2 days.
He ran out of ammo. Surely that's against some Mandalorian code.
Blaster rifles don't use much energy, and their energy cells last a long time. How often have you had to change ammo?
Mira could spare some blaster ammo.
My blaster rifle's been useless ever since I used it to bash in a Kanak's skull.
He could have tried running back to camp.
Even if I got by the Bomas, there are too many beasts between here and the checkpoint. Bravery is commendable, but there is no honor in suicide. You must have cleared a path to the beast coming here. If you take care of the Boma beasts, I can make it to safety.
He truly is helpless. After all she has seen in the Mandalorian Wars, it is rather amusing to see a Mandalorian warrior outmatched by Kanaks.
I do not need you to echo my failures to me. I need your aid.
A few years from now, he'll likely find the situation amusing too.
I find that hard to believe. But assuming I live, you might be right.
They decide to take care of the Boma beasts, as a few of them shouldn't be too difficult to handle.
A moment. That beast there. The Force flows even through these simple creatures. If you empty your mind, you may be able to feel its thoughts. They aren't fully formed. Basic instincts, primal urges, every breath dominated by the needs of the moment. The Force is strong in such creatures, but their minds are weak. Pray for those able to hear their thoughts and influence them.
Stretching out with the Force, Surik can sense the flows of the Boma's thoughts.
Beasts can be easier to affect than other sentients, but you must bridge the gap between what distinguishes us and them. You feel its thoughts, yes? Like a low rumble before the storm. Use the Force to create a barrier around it, carefully and slowly. And you have the potential. With practice, you can make any animal passive and pliable. But the cage around their perceptions is a fragile thing. Many things can break its hold. Violence, especially with the Force, anything is possible. But that is the end of the lesson for now.
A valuable lesson. One Surik is most thankful for.
You may thank me by using what you have learned. Let us go.
She continues to practice this ability as they engage other beasts, and while yet incapable of entirely dominating their minds, the power is sufficient distraction to make them easier to handle. Once the Bomas are taken care of, she decides to accompany the lost Mandalorian back to the safety of the camp, just in case, hoping that her contributions, including this one, will be recognized. And upon bringing him to safety, it's good to see her own reinforcements have arrived.
I'm grateful for your help, stranger. I won't forget this. I have only one request. Please, don't mention this incident to anyone.
Apart from her crew, there is no need for anyone to know of his failures. There is growth in conflict, yes, but telling the Mandalorians just how helpless he was would essentially make him an outcast. Strange how times change. Her choice would likely have been very different a decade ago.
I have no love for Mandalorians, but just letting him starve up there, I think you did the right thing.
She has seen enough death, and perhaps this man may repay her kindness to another.
You never know. There was enough senseless death back then to last a lifetime.
Sith's blood! Fixing anything in this rot-infested place is an uphill battle. This jungle attacks anything made by man.
What's the problem?
I'm trying to get the relay dish operational, but several components are broken and need repair. Without the relay, we're vulnerable to attack, especially right now.
I can take a look at it, if you will permit it. Correction. We can take a look at it, if you will permit it.
I'll take whatever help I can get. Whatever wires and tech haven't been corroded by the jungle are at least 10 years old.
While Bao-Dur and T3 help with the repairs, Surik heads to Mandalore for a progress report.
You defeated Braylor in the battle circle. Either you're very lucky, or you're a lot tougher than you look. Kelborn said you dispatched some covert military scouts in the jungle with him. He spoke highly of your work. How many Kanaks did you have to kill to find those parts for Zuka? That was a tremendous help. The gate guard said you managed to kill a Zak egg. Those are tough beasts, Jedi. You've earned some respect around here. Zarga told me that you returned one of our sheep to the herd. He was evasive when I asked him what happened, however. Trying to survive in the jungle must have taken its toll. You've made quite a reputation around here. You did better than I thought you could. I was planning on heading to Isis tomorrow, but I'll move up the timetable and take you now.
This is excellent news. Before departing, it would be wise to familiarize herself with the situation on the planet, especially the political side of things.
When you were last here, you probably didn't even go to Onderon. The Republic knew that Onderon's fate would be decided on its jungle moon, not the planet itself. To begin with, when you talk about Onderon, you're really talking about the ancient walled city of Isis. It's the only inhabited settlement on the planet. Onderon is a recent addition to the Republic, joining during one of the darker eras in Republic history. The people of Onderon don't possess the resolve and strength needed in these times. Many of them want to break away from the Republic. They want to go back to an earlier age when they could cower behind their walls. Their spinelessness made them easy to conquer.
Who is currently in charge of Onderon?
It depends on who you ask. Queen Talia rules from the royal palace, but her cousin General Vaklu has a great deal of power in Isis as well. They disagree about many things, just like their citizens. We fought General Vaklu during the war, and he is a worthy adversary. Queen Talia is young and hardly a match for him.
Queen Talia then represents the Republic, whereas Vaklu represents Onderon, and would separate, preserving the planet's independence. This is the choice she must make once she reaches the planet and begins her search for Master Kavar. But given the description of either side, it's more likely Kavar will find himself on the Republic side and the Queen.
I'm going to talk with Zuka and have him start a shuttle flight check. After that, we'll head out.
Surik proceeds to wrap up her work at camp while the shuttle is prepared.
How are the port stabilizers? They check out Mandalore. All systems are green. Good. I want the shuttle bound for Onderon within the hour.
Is all in readiness?
It is. Like I promised. Why? You want to back out now?
My only concerns are for the one you escort to Onderon, Mandalorian. Would you do any less for one of your clan?
Don't pretend to understand us. We Mandalorians are a breed apart.
If by apart you mean scattered, broken, and lost, Then yes, you are correct.
Not for long. Soon the Mandalorians will be strong again, united as one clan under one banner. Mine.
Ah, yes. The Great Crusade. After the first one was ended by Revan and the Jedi. Such a defeat was merciful, an echo of the end, when your ships were in flames, crushed in the grip of Malachor V. But I do not need to remind you of such things.
I was at Malachor V, and I remember how many Jedi died to stop us there. And no matter how many dead orbit that planet, the Mandalorians still live. Clan Ordo still lives. See Kex there? He was serving on Nar Shaddai's muscle for the Hutts. Kelborn was a scout for the Duros on Frontier Worlds. I brought them here, gave them a purpose. This galaxy will be ours again, I promise you. That is the future.
Indeed. The future is always in motion. It is a difficult thing to see. Perhaps there will be no New Age Mandalore, no great Mandalorian crusade. Perhaps your people fought their last battle at Malachor V, and you have been dying ever since, a quiet death that will last centuries. And perhaps all that remains will be what I see before me. A man wounded by a Jedi, encased in a Mandalorian shell, hunted by the thought of being the last of the Mandalorians.
You've got some guts talking to me like that. You think your age or your Jedi whelp are going to keep you safe from me?
No, Mandalore, you are wrong. I hope that it is you who will keep the one I travel with safe. You are loyal, and you have served many masters, even when they abandoned you. Do you wonder where he wanders now, Mandalore? Why he gave you your orders, then abandoned you at the edge of the galaxy?
How do you know that?
I know many things, and I can answer the question that burns within your shell, Mandalore. But there is a price. You must keep the one I travel with safe. She is important to me, more important than anything. Show the same loyalty you have shown in the past, Mandalore. If there is a Mandalorian crusade, let it be for something that will carry your people's memory into the future. So when the time comes when there are no more Mandalorians, then at least their honor will remain. The one I travel with has walked your same path. And I ask that when the end comes, that you remember that kinship, even if it seems there is nothing else left.
Forget the Jedi. Keep your eyes on her.
Several hours later, with all the work wrapped up, Surik and Kreia arrive at the hangar, where they will accompany Mandalore to the city of Visas. Given the shuttle's capacity, no one else will be able to accompany them.
1, 2, 3.
Wait a moment. I sense there is a disturbance in the camp.
Mandalorians, we got company. Stealth targets have breached our perimeter.
Our enemy has tracked us here. I did not expect them so soon. How did they get here, I wonder? Let us join the battle. Our allies will need our help. None of them can escape. Our whereabouts must remain a secret.
Over here. There are more of them.
You didn't think you were the only ones with stealth generators, did you?
Who wants to die first?
Focus.
Seems trouble follows you on a regular basis. I think it's best for both of us if we head to Isis immediately. Grab your gear. My men will take care of cleaning up the mess.
Next time.
Dagon Gent is the only person I know with the contacts to help us out. We need to get Dagon out of custody.
It's crazy to think he did it. Sulio was our friend.
Have you read the report? Some of the things Sulio called him were vile. There is a disruption in the Force. I must investigate this.
Get them, men, and watch your aim. Civilian casualties cause a mess of paperwork.
There's a chance that non-combatants could be hurt here.
Someone should tell that to Vakluzma. Greetings, Historian. The next fragment of Meetra Surik, the complete story, will become available on the following date. You may, however, access this fragment earlier within the following timeframe through memberships. Note that the complete story is still under construction. As fragments are formed, they will be made available to you. At the time of this fragment's appearance, the completion of the full story is indicated below. These story fragments will try their hardest to arrive on the first Saturday of every month. And as streams also typically take place on Saturdays, join them to share your thoughts and opinions. There may be one taking place shortly after this video, so examine the top of the description for more information. The knowledge has been imparted to you. Upon our journey, the pieces shall fall into place.